So, you want to know about dating, do you? Well, you've come to the right place. Isn't that right, Nani? What's going on, everyone? Jonas here. Hope you enjoyed the intro. That is my dog, Nani. For those of you who've seen my previous videos, she appears in some of them. She should really appear in more, I know. She's much cuter than I am, so work's a treat. Today's video is going to be slightly personal, not too personal, but the essence of this video hopefully is going to be looking at dating, sex, relationships, being single, flirting. We're going to probably get into all these sorts of topics because, I don't know, it's a very interesting area of life and I feel like it doesn't get spoken about that often sort of in open discourse. So hopefully this video will be of interest to you, maybe informative, maybe helpful, and at the very least hopefully somewhat entertaining. Before I sort of get into the main body of the video, I will just say that I have been heterosexual so far in my life, so I've been attracted to girls, and you know, this might change, who knows, you know, you can't predict the future, but even though I've been heterosexual so far in my life, I think this video will be applicable to anyone of any sexuality. If you're someone who is simply interested in dating in general, then I think this video will be for you. To keep things brief, I'm going to put a timer on the screen and I'm going to try and sort of run through my life's experience of dating in under a minute. So I'm just going to get a clock up. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so I had my first real life crush when I was 9. It was a girl I met at school and it was completely overwhelming and I was so infatuated for about a year and it really unlocked something within me which I've kind of pursued ever since. It was definitely some sort of awakening. My second crush was when I was about 13, but I didn't have my first proper kiss with a girl until I was 15. It was at a party. That summer I had my first romance, which was on holiday. I didn't have my first girlfriend until I was 16 when I was at college. We were together for a few months. Then from the ages of 17 to basically when I was 19, I was single. I had a lot of experiences. A lot of them were very brief, sort of what you call flings with people. I didn't stick around with anyone for very long, dealing with sort of mental health issues, but then I met someone and I was in a 2-year committed relationship with them, 5 seconds. Which ended in the autumn of last year and I've been single ever since. I think that just about does it. Whether you're with someone for, you know, one night or a lifetime or any length of time in between, you have to treat them with respect, with compassion, with understanding. Because if you approach dating with a lack of awareness, with a lack of empathy, with a lack of compassion, you're going to hurt a lot of people and we don't want that, and you're also going to end up hurting yourself because you're never going to find actually true, lasting connections with people. And I mean, that is probably the greatest tragedy of all. And I think that empathy, compassion, understanding are applicable at all levels of dating, because whether it's someone that you've just met, whether it's someone that you've had something with for a while, whether it's, you know, someone that you're literally having sex with in the moment, whether it's someone that you've been married to for decades, empathy is the foundation, the bedrock of any sort of meaningful, healthy, positive interaction in a relationship. I'm someone who likes to go out and meet people sort of in the real world, on the street, in the supermarket, when I'm on walks, etc. This is known as sort of cold approaching in a kind of dating world. And I'm definitely a fan of that, and I would recommend that people watching this would try and sort of start getting into that. But even if you've just met someone, I think that being empathetic is where it begins and ends, because you have to respect the fact that people might not want to talk to you, people might not want to date you, and that's absolutely fine. And if someone does decide that they want to date you, then you need to still be empathetic, obviously, because you never know what history someone's had, what trauma they've experienced, you know, what they're dealing with in their life at that particular moment. You just don't know. So you've always got to be aware of people's feelings and considerate of that. This is something that I think always you need to be refreshing in your mind and bringing to whatever relationship that you have, because you'll be better off for it, your partner will be better off for it, and your life will be better off for it. Boundaries are obviously a very important part of life, but particularly dating, and whatever boundaries people put up, you need to obviously respect whatever they decide is okay for them. You know, it's being able to read and understand someone's body language And if you go and try and escalate the interaction and they sort of show or say basically no to that, then that's where you stop and you say, okay, I respect your boundary, you know, I thought you were interested in me, but you're not, and that's fine. And this is all part and parcel of the dating game. People are going to be interested in you, people are not going to be interested in you. Some people are going to be interested in you for a short while and then not. Some people you'll really like and they won't like you, or you might go off them. This is all part of the process, and these are all acceptable features of dating. You know, this is not right or wrong, this simply is. Hey Nan, what's that? You see, Nan is very empathetic. Well, actually, she's not. She's very selfish, but, you know, we love her still. Don't we? Don't we? No. I guess she'll just sit here for the rest of the video. You know, and I will say that there have been times in my dating life where I've really failed to be empathetic, and I've failed in my sort of compassion. And this is one of the great tragedies, really, because, you know, that's led to, obviously, issues with my dating life, and that's something I definitely always need to be reminding myself of going forward. Give them an experience that they will remember for the rest of their lives. You know, this should be your goal, this should be something that you want to do. Being a romantic, you know, whether it's for one night or forever, for the rest of time. That's how you should always approach it. It's like the line in the Peter Doherty song, "Lady, don't fall backwards." He says, "I'll love you forever, or at least till morning comes." I think that's beautiful, and I think that it's something that we should all strive for, because that's romanticism at its best. It's like, you know, you might not want me forever, you might want me just for tonight, but I'm here for you. I'm here, I'm present with you, and I'm gonna enjoy you, and I'm gonna let you enjoy me. Which is something I think Hank Moody says in the show Californication. It's probably the single best distillation of dating advice that I've ever heard. You know, enjoy whatever the other person is, and then allow them to enjoy whatever you are, and that is the primary route to genuine connection.
Nothing left to
Hank? I was gonna go check out that vigil of Kurt Cobain. I don't know. Do you want to come?
The Cobain vigil? I got a vigil that I was already.
No, serious. Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know if you know this about me, but I love vigils. Oh.
I kind of guessed that.
So the second piece of advice that I would give would be to always be honest / direct. This is something I learned from the Natural Lifestyles, who are a very brilliant dating sort of organisation, company. They teach people how to date, mostly men. And they've got a lot of great videos on YouTube, which I watched from pretty much the age of about 15 onwards. I still sort of go back to them occasionally whenever I sort of need that sort of philosophy. And I would recommend that anyone watching this go check out a lot of their stuff, particularly James Marshall, and I was going to say Liam McRae, but he's sort of gone a bit AWOL on the internet recently. But definitely James Marshall. For the first sort of video about dating that I watched that really sort of changed my perspective on it and really has become quite foundational for my practice is a video from a talk that Sasha Daygame gave to the 21 convention. And it's a really funny talk because he was a stand-up comedian before he became a dating coach, but you know, this only adds to the colour of his sort of charisma in this particular talk. And watching it when I was sort of a very kind of impressionable 15-year-old was very overwhelming. But I understood within the video that there was a lot of truth there, a lot of really kind of philosophical truth, and this is something that I've definitely kept within me ever since. And he basically goes on and on and on about being direct, being direct, being direct. But what he really means is just being honest. And this is at the root of the Natural Lifestyles philosophy. You know, honesty is at the heart of any kind of relationship that you'll have, and nobody expresses that more comically than Sasha Daygame in this particular talk.
And it's very strange to on purpose try and not show that you like a girl, to try and, you know, to on purpose hide your intention. It's weird, you know? If I want something from you, if I want you to pass me a fucking can of Coke, I'll be like, yo, pass me the Coke. I'm not gonna be like, so, listen, I was wondering, that can of Coke doesn't really look, might fall over where it is. Can you just maybe pass that over here and we'll, And then later be like, actually, I wanted to drink the Coke, and that's why I had you. No! I'm just gonna just pass me the fucking Coke.
In my experience, this has always been true. You know, as I say, I'm someone who likes to go up to people kind of on the street at random and just strike up conversations, try and get people's numbers, get people's contact details. And at the heart of that is, you know, when you go up to someone that you don't know, they're kind of like, well, what are you doing here? You know, what is this? And so you have to just be honest with them. You have to just say, hey, look, I came up to talk to you because I like this about you, or I thought this about you. And it's got to be something you've actually thought or felt. And then instantly the person knows, okay, so this person's attracted to me. Okay, I see what's going on here. You know, and if you do it in the right way, it can be a very pleasant experience for the person. You know, even if they don't ultimately want to date you, you still connected with somebody, you still complimented somebody, you've still made them feel good about themselves, and this is a positive thing. But even if it's someone that you've been married to for 20 years, you know, if your wife looks good, tell her she looks good. You know, if your girlfriend looks good, tell her she looks good every time. Don't stop doing that, because standards can slip, and this can be a problem that sort of snowballs over time, and it can be quite destructive, you know. But also, if you've been with someone for a while and they're doing something that you don't like, something about the relationship that they're not contributing to, or whatever, you know, you need to tell them that. You know, so honesty really is at the forefront of any interaction that you have with someone that you're dating or you've been seeing. And, you know, I've done what you call approaches where I've been a bit more indirect, and that can work sometimes, but usually only if there's something contextual about the interaction that is funny or amusing, or that can kind of accelerate the connection. But I found that it's basically always better just to be honest and just say, hey, this is why I've come up and spoken to you. But as I say, even in the committed relationship that I have for 2 years, from the beginning, one of the biggest things that we made sure to underpin and to keep as the foundation of our relationship was honesty. You know, and honesty through constant, unfiltered communication. You know, regardless of how much resistance we felt to speaking the truth, we made sure that we always did. The relationship was always much better off for doing that. Honesty has to be the kind of number one principle, you know, behind the sort of empathy that we were talking about. And yeah, a quick word about the Natural Lifestyles. They're a great sort of channel or organisation, business, whatever you want to call it, because at the heart of their sort of practice is philosophy, spirituality, meditation. First and foremost, having a real connection to yourself before you even go about trying to date other people. And I think that that's something that, at least, you know, when I was younger and I was looking for sort of help with this online, because, you know, my dad wasn't around when I was growing up, so I didn't really have anyone to sort of teach me this, so I had to kind of figure out for myself through kind of the internet and also my own experience. That really resonated with me, because there's a lot of kind of bullshit out there when it comes to sort of dating companies or dating coaches, and I was very lucky to find these guys very quickly, because they really basically made me develop myself spiritually. And I did that initially because I thought, well, I'm going to do this so I can get girls. But if you do that for a while, you end up realizing, well, actually, I don't need to date. I'm actually really happy with my spirituality and my sort of connection to myself that I've cultivated, which is kind of an irony. But then that's when you become more attractive to people, and that's when I started to actually date a lot more. So definitely check them out. The third piece of advice that I would give is patience. And again, this can be applied to any sort of type of relationship or that you're having with somebody. Whether it's someone that you've literally just started, you know, talking to, sort of texting, maybe you just started sort of getting to know them. If they're slow at replying or whatever, just be patient. Just be patient. You've always got to be patient. And if you're sort of even if you're dating a lot and you're seeing a lot of people, nothing's really clicking, again, just be patient. The right person will come along. I'm sure if you just keep going about your dating life in the right way, things will happen, which is one of my main mantras actually when it comes to life. If you go about your life in the right way, things will happen. And this is very much applicable to the realm of dating. It's always better to be patient and to not just settle, as it were, for the first person that comes along, but actually you want to choose who you're seeing, and that patience is very important in that.
Cameron has never been in love. At least nobody's ever been in love with him. If things don't change for him, he's gonna marry the first girl he lays. And she's gonna treat him like shit. Because she will have given him what he has built up in his mind as the end-all be-all of human existence. She won't respect him. Because you can't respect somebody who kisses your ass. Just doesn't work.
And I say, even if you're in a relationship with somebody, you've been seeing someone for a while, be patient. You know, don't think, oh, I've got to have love at first sight and then have that just be it forever. You know, you might feel quite a lot of love for somebody and it might go down a bit, but just be patient. Like, it will come back. If you keep going about the relationship in the right way, feelings will come back. You know, and this is so important, because I think that when I was sort of single for 2 years, from when I was 17 to 19, roughly speaking, I was so impatient. I'd meet a girl, kind of be attracted to her, I would like her, maybe date for a bit, but after a few weeks, you know, something about her would come up that I didn't particularly like, and then I would just, that was it, I was gone. I was out of there, because she's not perfect, so I'm not going to be patient and stick with this. And that's definitely a problem that I have in my dating life, is that the girls I'm seeing are always sort of competing with my imagination. You know, because I've always got a kind of perfect girl, a perfect woman in my mind that I'm waiting for to come and essentially save me from myself. And, you know, it's something I deal with quite well now, and I'm kind of detached from it, more or less. But when I was younger, I was completely at the mercy of this kind of fantasy. And it meant that I was so impatient, I was so lost. So I think that patience is very important at whatever level of relationship you have. Don't make snap decisions based on mood, basically, is a very important point as well. You know, your mood comes and goes, your mood will change depending on a lot of things, but, you know, if you've decided to be with somebody, then commit to that and stick with that for a decent length of time, and don't just jump ship at the first sort of sign of imperfection. Always have fun. This is something that is very close to my heart, because part of me is really opposed to the idea of the serious relationship, in the sense that when I was in a committed relationship, I always thought of, you know, the idea of the serious relationship is very like, yeah, furrowed brow and very sort of, oh yeah, I'm in a serious relationship now, that's really serious, you know. And something that I was just so opposed to that idea, because I found that in this committed relationship, I'd always choose having a laugh over anything else. And there's so much to that, because I think that people can get kind of lost or bogged down in the kind of serious elements of a relationship, that they neglect the kind of fun. And it should be fun. You know, dating should be fun. If your dating life is not fun, then something is not right, because at the end of the day, there's so many serious things in life that if your dating life sinks and falls into a realm of being very not fun, very serious, that needs to change. Rock the boat a bit, which I'm going to get onto later. Don't be afraid to be spontaneous. Be spontaneous just whenever you feel like it, because the essence of romance is uncertainty, as Oscar Wilde famously said. The foundation of uncertainty is spontaneity. You know, and this can apply to, again, any kind of relationship that you have. Fun needs to be in the relationship, and it needs to be an essential cog in the kind of mechanics of the relationship, because if not, it's just going to get so boring so quickly. You know, the fun can die, and this particularly maybe is true over kind of long-term relationships. If you're with someone for many years and you sort of get older together, you know, and if this has happened to you, then, you know, it's never too late. It's never too late to reintroduce kind of silliness and fun to the relationship, because you've got to keep that inner child within you alive, and there's no better place to do that than in your dating life. And this is something I've always tried to do in my dating life, particularly when I was in my committed relationship. Something that I always made sure that I did pretty much on a daily basis was to just be silly, be a bit absurd, be ridiculous, say outrageous things, do outrageous things in public. I won't go into specifics because, you know, I don't want to give too much away, but that was something that I always consciously made sure to keep up. And I think that my partner appreciated that and kind of reveled in that and enjoyed that. And it was from start to finish, that was always something about our relationship that was very enjoyable. And it's something that in all future relationships that I potentially have is going to be an absolutely fundamental part. You could be in the middle of a very big argument, and if you just make some sort of sly comment or joke or kind of a grin or whatever, it can make the kind of resolution of the argument so much easier and so much more loving and so much more pleasurable, because the mood can instantly change from, okay, we were having an argument about this thing, we were all serious, and now we're just like, yeah, but it's fine, you know, it's not that big of a deal. You know, obviously if it's a fight about something big that's happened, then that's maybe not quite as applicable. But I think always have fun wherever you can, because you never know what the humour and the fun could help you with in your relationships. Yeah, and being spontaneous is so important. This is true on dates, in the bedroom, wherever. Do things unexpectedly. Try things out. Surprise them. Surprise whoever you're seeing. There is no end to the mischief, the pleasure, the romance, the love, and the amusement that you'll have. It can be potentially endless, and that's going to keep the relationship vital and enjoyable from start to finish. But this does require effort. You know, it's not going to be something that comes overnight, and also, you know, it's going to have to be maintained. But if you're with the right person who's open to that, it's very easy, and it's absolutely essential in my book. Don't be afraid to rock the boat with somebody. And I'm going to quote James Marshall in one of his talks for the 21 convention, which he did, I think, in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. And he said,
when you challenge people, you're actually doing them and you a favour. Being so fucking polite actually means that you don't actually have real connections with people. Trying to make sure that the boat is never rocked means that you just sail past each other. You don't actually make clear connections.
And this is so profoundly true that I often sort of can't believe that he just said it casually like that. You know, because it's such an apt metaphor. You know, ships passing in the night basically is the idea that I always get when I hear that. Because if you don't sail near someone and try and make something happen, chances are you'll just sail past each other. You've all had that. You've all had people in your life who you thought, I'm really interested in them, I'm really attracted to them, I really want to meet them and engage with them. But circumstance doesn't do it for you, and you end up never knowing that person, and it kind of haunts you a bit. And you think, if only I'd just gone and just tried to make something happen, what could have been? A broken heart hurts less than missed opportunity. And again, I find this to be very profoundly true in my own experience. It's almost more disappointing when I see someone that I'm attracted to when I'm out and about and I don't talk to them, than if I do talk to them and it doesn't happen, basically. The latter is so easy to deal with, but if I don't try, I'm always haunted by the idea of, oh, but what if it was them? What if they were the next person that I was going to see and I've not met them? That's such a shame. And again, it links to the previous idea of being sort of spontaneous. You know, it's not being afraid to just, oh, I'm just going to poke you a bit and see how you react. I'm going to say something a bit outrageous. I'm going to show some sort of resistance, because resistance creates sort of tension, and that can be exciting. Because if you have a relationship with someone and there's no resistance, there's no kind of tussling, as it were, there's no kind of play, then it gets very boring very quickly. And the solution to this is rocking the boat. I guess I would summarize this mindset with something that Liam McRae often used to say, which is try it and see what happens. If you see someone that you like somewhere in any sort of situation, you think, oh, I really want to talk to them. I wonder what that would be like. Try it and see what happens. Just say hello and see where it goes. Or if you want to ask someone out on a date, maybe at work, or someone that you've known for a while, just try it and see what happens. The worst that will happen is, and I can trust me from experience, the worst thing that will happen is you'll literally just end up back exactly where you were before the interaction. You know, if you're on your way to the shops and you see someone that you want to talk to, you talk to them, they say no, you're literally just back where you were going to the shops. Your life has not changed in any way. But the potential positive of that interaction is you meet someone that you'll date, and potentially they could be the next great love of your life. They could be the one that you have children with. You never know. There's so much to gain and so little to lose. Just try it and see what happens. And again, if you're dating someone, you're in a relationship with somebody, maybe sexually, if there's something that you want to try, you think, oh, I don't know, I'm a bit shy about sort of bringing that up. Just try it and see what happens. They might say yes. They might have been waiting for you to ask that, to say that, to sort of propose something to them. And speaking of proposing, if you're thinking, oh, I want to propose to my partner and I'm not really sure, try it and see what happens. Like, life is so short. You have to go for things. You have to just live your truth, live authentically, be true to your heart, be true to yourself, and just try things and see where they lead you. Because this is the essence of all adventure, right? It's venturing into the unknown. And this is true at every level of dating, every level of relating to people. You know, everything you want is on the other side of fear. And it doesn't matter if you just mumble or muddle your way through it. It just matters that you do it. And you know, it's such an essential philosophy for me still. Because like when I had my first proper romance when I was 15 on holiday, that was the first time I'd ever gone up to a girl and tried to sort of strike up a conversation. And I was so nervous before doing it. And I was kind of there like biting my nails and like sitting with my dad, and I was like, Dad, I don't know, like should I go and talk to her? I don't know. And brilliantly he was just like, just go do it. And he just ignored me, and I did, and we met, and then we ended up having a very beautiful, profound romance, you know, which has deeply impacted my heart, my soul, and it's something that I still cherish to this day, and I always look at to remind myself that romance is possible, romance is real, and that all it takes is you just saying, you know, hello to somebody, and you can potentially have the next great romance in your life. So don't be afraid to sort of break through the prism of the matrix and do something out of the ordinary. Don't be afraid to rock the boat. All these things I've spoken about today are equally as applicable to sort of pandemic, COVID dating as they were before and potentially will be in the future. The main sort of feature of COVID dating perhaps is that a lot of it is taking place online, you know, on dating apps. And I have some experience of dating apps, I've met some people on dating apps, but overall I'd say that for me anyway, it's not very healthy to use them, and I think that for people in general it's not that healthy to use them, because I think that the increasing sort of use of technology in our culture is not very good for humanity, and I think that, you know, where possible you should try and meet people in person, because, you know, even with COVID I think it is possible to still meet people sort of out and about, you know, and meet them kind of authentically. I think if you are someone who is going to use online dating apps, then all of the things I've spoken about today are still applicable. So, you know, be empathetic, be understanding, be honest with them. Obviously don't be like ultra direct, you know, like sleazy, because that again shows a lack of empathy, a lack of really sort of understanding of another person. You know, be patient. You know, it'll probably be a while before you maybe meet somebody on an app, you know, but stick with it if it's something that you really want to do. Have fun. You know, dating apps really should be about having fun, and it's just like an extension of normal dating. I think dating nowadays is probably harder than it's maybe ever been, but these sort of philosophies that I've been speaking about today are equally as applicable to sort of COVID/online dating as they are to sort of what you'd call maybe real life analog dating. I'm a fan of the old-fashioned sort of meet cute, you know, meeting somebody in person out and about, because it's just more romantic, you know. And as someone who's a romantic with a capital R, I think dating apps really are not for me. So if you can go up to a stranger on the street and sort of speak your truth and you know, ask for the number and stuff like that, and face the kind of possible rejection of that, there's nothing really you can't do, because you develop a kind of an emotional strength and proficiency with sort of pressure situations, which is applicable to the rest of your life. It's always been the thing that I go back to as the kind of underpinning practice of my dating life. So I would urge anyone watching this to try and sort of get into that themselves. Start speaking to people that you don't know when you go out and see what happens. You know, you'll be amazed, you know, in a year or 2 years, the people that you'll have met, you know, and you can do it. It's not like, oh, I could never do that. It's like, you can, you really can. And the way that you would maybe try to change that mindset is simply by saying, what if I could do it? What if I could do it? Neutral mindset rather than jumping straight to a positive mindset. Just saying, well, what if I did do that? What if actually that was something that I was capable of? And again, you'll be amazed at the people that you'll meet and the romance that you'll experience and the confidence that you will develop as a result. There's really nothing like it. I think that's pretty much what I wanted to say today. I think I'm going to wrap it up there. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found some of it useful / interesting / entertaining in some fashion. If you have any questions at all, let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to answer any questions about any aspect of dating that you might, you know, be curious about. I hope you guys are all staying safe, staying well, staying positive, but also accepting any negative emotions that come your way and just keeping on. But yeah, my dog is asleep, so she's not going to say goodbye, unfortunately, but yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So, adios, amigos.